which means mountain, Mauna. Preceded by a ka'i, like a cup. But if it's the name of a Mahalo ka hele ana mai. E komo ako kako I loko. It's fun side, you know. Here. Aloha mai kako, and welcome to the first episode of Kaleo ʻŌiwi, our new Hawaiian language learning series ma Hawaii nei. O wau o hina nubo, and over the course of 13 episodes, we'll be on a journey covering the basic building blocks of ʻŌlelo Hawaii, our Hawaiian language. Because ʻŌlelo is ingrained in all of Hawaiian culture, we'll be learning a whole lot more than just our ʻŌlelo. So you might be wondering just how we're gonna do this. Well, we're gonna try to ʻŌlelo as much as we can. We'll learn some easy phrases that you can start using immediately, and we'll do some fun exercises that'll have us learning by doing, which is one of the best ways to learn anyway, ea makahana ka ike. In each episode, we'll do a review, cover new material, and even have some friends to come visit, usually to ho'okani pila or jam with us. A couple of our friends are actually going to join us for every episode to learn along with us. Mai ho'aloha Ivaleni, who is a graduate from our Hawaiian immersion program, is the one who actually talked to me about having a little papa or class, because she has a friend who really wants to learn.
Oi, aloha hina.
That's them! Ke aloha no!
Aloha. Pehea?
Mikai!
Kia ko uhua o pomaikai, this is Hina.
Ke aloha no!
So nice to meet you.
Mahalo ka hele ana mai. E komo aku kako I loko. Let's go inside.
You know?
Okay.
Hele mai, hele mai. E noho kako. So I'm really glad you decided to come over, Pomaikai.
Thank you so much for having us, Hina.
No worries. What's your last name?
Benavides.
Okay. And where are you from?
Well, I grew up in Kailua, went away to school for a little while, and I've been back in Hawaii for a couple of years. Recently, my wife and I actually just had our first baby.
Ho'omaikai a
Thank you,
olua.
thank you.
Pomaikai.
And
Hi.
that's really why I want to start learning Hawaiian again. I took some classes in high school, but I really want to be able to raise my baby speaking Hawaiian. Maybe, when the time's right, we can enroll in Rupunana Leo, and hopefully by then I'll be able to speak a little Hawaiian.
Eva and I will definitely help you work towards that. In fact, by the end of our Kaleo ʻŌiwi journey, we'll all be able to use some basic Hawaiian and hopefully be ono to learn more. The main thing to ho'omaopopo or remember is mai hopo hopo a mai hila hila. Don't worry and no be shame. We'll jump into speaking as best as we can and help each other learn as we go. It'll be fun. Hiki no?
Hi.
Mikai. Because we're going to focus on learning just by actually speaking and trying to pick things up as we use the ʻŌlelo. We won't follow a textbook to the T. However, a lot of what we'll learn is based on Nakai e Walu by Kauanoe Kamana and Pila Wilson. And I set up a Facebook site called Kaleo ʻŌiwi where you can get information on purchasing a copy of Nakai e Walu if you'd like. We'll also put up vocabulary lists and supplemental ha'awina or lessons for each episode. The same information will be available on our website, hawaiianlanguage.tv, where all of these episodes will be housed so you can watch them over and over again. Aloha and welcome back. You know, if we stop and think about it, ʻŌlelo Hawaii is all around us, from street signs to names of buildings.
In our state song and even our state motto, yeah.
Aye, there's a lot of Hawaiian words and terms that we use in everyday conversation, like aloha, mahalo, mauka, makai, all kind.
Pololei. And because of that, a lot of people in Hawaii actually know more Hawaiian than they think. And we'll keep that in mind as we move along.
Hiki no.
It's for you.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
So, why don't we start with some simple but important building blocks that'll help us to make use of and be more aware of the Olelo Hawaii that's all around us. We'll run through the Pi'apa Hawaii, or Hawaiian alphabet, brush up on the kahako, or macron as it's called in English, and it's used in modern spelling. We'll look at two words that precede many others, ka and ke, and we'll talk in general about descriptive words and how to use them. Maika'i ke la, sound good?
Ai hiki no.
Ai, hiki no.
Can do. Maika'i. So the Pi'apa Hawaii has 13 letters. A, E, I, O, U. He, ke, la, mu, nu, pi, ve, and the last letter, which a lot of people think of as a mark, but it's actually a letter and it's in your name. Can you guess what it is?
Is it the okina?
A, oya.
Oh.
And it sounds like the sound between a and o when you go uh-oh. Think you know.
Ai.
And just a little note. While the okina might look like an apostrophe, it's not. It should actually, in writing, look like a small 6, whereas the apostrophe looks like a small 9. Ua pa'a.
Ai ua
Got it.
pa'a.
Ai.
Okay, ho'oma'a kako. A,
A.
e,
E.
I,
I.
o,
O.
u, he,
He.
ke,
Ke.
la,
La.
mu, nu,
Nu.
pi,
Pi.
ve,
Ve.
and okina.
Okina.
Maika'i. E ho'a'o haupaha ʻoe e po maika'i.
Okay. A, E, I, O, U. He, ke, la, mu, nu, pi, ve, and okina.
Maika'i loa.
Wow.
Maika'i. Now, vehe or explain to him the importance of the kahako.
Hiki no. The kahako, called a macron in English, changes the pronunciation of vowels, and it's also important in clarifying the mana'o, or meaning, of hua'olelo. E ho'oma'ama'a kako. E ho'opili mai. Repeat after me. Kela.
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 Kela can mean excelling or exceeding, and kela is one of the words for that. E ho'a'o hokako. Paka.
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 So one of the meanings of paka is tobacco, and the word paka means park. Paka can mean to cut into thin slices.
Hoi hoi ea. Interesting how all those words are spelled P-A-K-A, paka, but with the kahako over the first A, paka, and then over both A's, paka, totally changes the meaning of the word.
Ai. So vowels with the kahako are held longer.
Ai, pololei. And when writing Hawaiian words, the kahako is symbolized by a solid line over those vowels. Maupopo.
Ai. And I'm sure the kahako will come up over and over as we continue to practice.
Pololei. In fact, let's ho'oma'ama'a, or practice some words that help to emphasize the importance of the okina and the kahako. We'll start with the name of one of our ali'i that's commonly mispronounced, Lili'uokalani. E ho'opili mai. Lili'uokalani.
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 Okay, liliu means to spin or be dizzy, and lani refers to the heavens. So liliuokalani would probably mean something like spinning or dizzy heavens, something very different than the name of our ali'i. But liliu refers to a burning in the eyes. It was said that during Liliuokalani's birth, her foster mother's aunt, Kina'u, was suffering with pain in her maka in her eyes.
Hoi hoi ea.
Ai. Hoi hoi.
E ho'a'o hokako. Let's try one more. Paua.
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 Pa'oa.
Pa'oa.
Paua.
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 Pa'oa.
Pa'oa.
So paua can refer to certain fragrant things. Paoa is the name of a divining rod in a legend of Pele, and Paoa, that doesn't mean anything. So the ha'avina, or lesson here, is not to give in to the urge to throw random okinas where they don't belong. Because Paoa has 3 vowels grouped together, sometimes we feel like putting an okina in there, but a'ole polole ea, it's not correct.
Mai ka'i. By the way, what is Paua Kalani?
Paoa Kalani is the name of one of Lili'uo Kalani's residences, and it's pronounced just like that, Paoa Kalani, no okina. Another area that's commonly mispronounced is the area known as Aiea. Because Aiea has several vowels put together, people tend to say Aiea, but actually it's Aiea. Ho'opili mai, Aiea,
Aiea.
mai ka'i. So we'll maka'ala, be alert, to pronouncing the okina where they are and not putting them in where they don't belong. Hiki no.
Ai mai ka'i.
Aye.
So let's move on to some common words that actually help us to spell the words that follow them. Those are ka and ke. Both are called ka'i and are the words for the. So po mai ka'i, what would kalani mean?
The heavens,
Mai ka'i. Pehea o, how's about ka'aina?
the land,
Mai ka'i. E hapai oi ke kahi mea e iwa?
Hiki. Pehea or how about ke keiki?
the child.
Mai ka'i. A pehea o ke ali'i.
Well, I remember ali'i as meaning chief, so the chief.
Mai ka'i loa.
So if aina and lani are ka and keiki and ali'i are ke, how do I know when to use which?
He ninau mai ka'i ke la? That's a great question. And there's actually a little tool we can use to help us remember. It isn't foolproof as there's always exceptions, but it's still mai ka'i. And that's the letters ke, I, e, and o, which happen to make up the 2 words keao, and that means the cloud. E iwa, e vehe mai oi ka mana'o nui o keia.
Hiki. Basically, ka comes before all words except the words that start with ke, I, e, or o, like keiki. Because keiki starts with a ke, it was ke keiki, and ali'i, because it starts with an e, was ke ali'i.
Maopopo e po mai ka'i. Understand?
Aye, but I'd love to have a couple more if you can do that.
Hiki no. Let's ho'oma'ama'a like this. I'll say a word, and you repeat it with the correct ka'i, ke or ka, before it. Pehea.
Mai ka'i.
Mauna, which means mountain. Mauna.
Ka mauna.
Kai.
Ke kai.
Mai ka'i, ke kai. Niu.
Canoe.
Hiki no. Pehea o kumuniu for coconut tree. Kumuniu.
Ke kumuniu.
Pehea o ohu.
Ohu. Well, it starts with an O, which is in keao. So it must be keohu.
Good try. He ho'a o mai ka'i ke la. But ohu actually starts with an okina, which is a letter, but isn't in keao. So if it's not one of those, it would be
Ka'ohu. I
Aye.
got it. Okay.
polole.
How's about a few more?
Hiki no. Pehea o one. Sand. One.
Keone. Keone.
Mai ka'i. Pehea o nalu. Wave.
Kanalu.
Hiki no. A leila pehea o ehukai for sea spray. Ehukai.
Ehukai. Ka ehukai?
Pololei. Ehukai starts with an okina, so ka would be the correct ka'i. Mai ka'i loa. And, I don't know if you guys knew, but ehukai is also the name of a world-class surf break here on the North Shore that a lot of surfers call Pipeline. I think wa ano pa'ano. We kind of got it. And we'll get more practice with this as we go along. But just remember, like I said earlier, there's always exceptions to the rule. There are words that don't start with ke, I, e, or o, but ke would still be the ka'i that precedes them, like pa kau kau, which starts with p, and eke, which starts with okina. We say ke pa kau kau and ke eke. The only way to know these exceptions is to memorize them as they come up. Hiki no.
Hiki no.
Ah, oh yeah. Now let's take a look at descriptive words in Hawaiian, and particularly how they're situated. E iwa, ho'omaopopo o I kainoa o ia ano hua o lalo.
Ai, he mau kahulu. They're called kahulu.
No ke aha.
Why? Because hulu is the word for feathers, and feathers are the pretty and colorful parts of birds, especially the tail feathers that flutter behind them. And in Hawaiian, the descriptive and colorful words follow the word that they describe.
Hoi hoi.
Yeah, like my name, Eva Lani. Eva is a type of bird, and Lani refers to the heavens, which describes the bird. So Eva Lani means the heavenly bird.
Mikai, yeah?
Ai.
E ho'oma'a kako. Here's a list of some simple words, and many of them you may already know, like hale and aina, and so on. So looking at the list, e pomeikai, pehea oe e olelo oe ya big house. You know the words for big and house, right?
I do, nui and hale. But if nui would be used to describe the hale, then it would come after hale. Thus, it'd be hale nui.
Pololei, pehea e olelo oe ya little house.
Hale li'ili.
Mikai, pehea e olelo oe ya red house.
Hale ula ula.
Maikai, so basically these words, nui, li'i, and ula tell you which house is being referred to. The big one, the little one, or the red one. So the kahulu describes the word it follows. Well, kakakila, makes sense.
Ai. Kinda.
Mikai, pehea keia. He aha kahua olelo no, what's the word for room?
Lumi.
Mikai, what's the word for bathe?
Oh, that's an easy one. Oh,
So what would you call a room where you bathe?
oh.
Lumi, what kind of lumi?
Lumi oh.
Mikai, what about a room where you cook or a kitchen?
Lumi kuke.
Mikai, pehea o classroom.
Lumi papa.
Hiki no. Now, what if I wanted to describe the classroom further and say it was a big classroom? Big is now describing the classroom. So what would it be?
Lumi papa nui.
Maika iloa. So in Hawaiian, the words are reordered from last to first. So big classroom becomes room class big. Maupopo.
Ai. E ho'oma'a hou ke oluolu.
E hapai oi ke kahila ana e Eva?
Hiki no, pehea keia. He a kahua olelo no, clothes.
Lole.
Maikai, he a kahua olelo no, leg.
Vavai.
Maikai. So how would you say clothes for your leg or pants?
Lole vavai.
Maikai, moakaka.
I'm kind of getting there.
I think wa ano pa'ano. And like with everything else that we went over, the pi'apa, kahako, ke and ka with keao, and these kahulu, because they're the basic building blocks of Olelo Hawaii, we'll see them over and over again and have more time to ho'oma'ama'a. Hiki no.
Ai, hiki no.
Maikai.
Maikai. So let's take a short break or ho'omalolo, and when we come back, we're gonna holo holo ka'a or go for a ride in the car. E ho'iho mai no.
All set?
You bet.
And to the right, vamp. Alternating feet coming forward on the right. And now opening the knees and kicking the feet. And vamp right. Vamp left. And we're done. Without Hawaiian, it's just not the same.
Aha Punana Leo, reinvigorating the Hawaiian language since 1983.
So we started off today talking about how Olelo Hawaii is just a natural part of everything around us, yeah? People's names, songs, names of buildings and streets. So I was thinking we could just go holo holo ka'a and see how many names we either already know or can figure out based on what we learned today. Pea.
Hiki no,
Ai.
ihana kaku, where are we going?
Pea ko manao.
How about Waikiki? I've noticed that a lot of the street names down there are named after our ali'i.
Mikai, do you know why that is?
Aye, that's where many of Hawaii's ali'i lived and played. Many of them had homes in the area.
Polole. Lole la i Waikiki kako.
Hiki no?
Ai.
You know, we go Waikiki. Waikai noa o keia ala nui. What or who is the name of this street?
Kalakaua.
Maikai, he aha ka mana'o kela. What is the meaning of that?
What is kaua again?
It's the word for war.
So if ka means the, la is day, and kaua is war, then kalakaua means the day of war. But why did they call him that?
There's more than one reason, but one of them is that the day that Kalakaua was born, there was a treaty signed between Hawaii and Great Britain and stopped a conflict between them.
Wow, I never knew that.
Pehea kei ala nui. What about this tree?
Kapi'olani, she was Kalakawa's queen, right?
Ai, polole, and Pio refers to an arch like a rainbow.
So Kapi'olani means the heavenly arch.
Ai, rainbows signify the presence of royalty.
A pehea kei ala nui.
Kuhio,
Ku means to stand and Hio means to lean. It is said that this family name referred to the one who leans forward, looking to his people. Perhaps as an ali'i, paid attention to those before him.
Pehea kei ala nui, o lau niu.
what is lau again?
Leaf.
So if lau means leaf and niu means coconut, then coconut leaf. And look, here's another one. Kaiolu. Kai means ocean, but what does olu mean?
Cool or refreshing.
So kaiolu means refreshing ocean.
Ai, a ea mai ke kahiali o kaiulani.
What is you?
Sacred, as in a place, or in this case, a person. And lani refers not only to the heavens, but to royalty as well.
So kaiulani means the sacred and royal one.
Ai, and we know that Kaiulani was Queen Liliuokalani's niece, who would have succeeded the throne.
Speaking of our queen, here's another one we practiced earlier, Liliuokalani. And here's another one, Pawa Kalani. Pawa, as we remember, means fragrance. And Kalani is a royal reference, so the royal fragrance.
Ai, and this is the name of one of Queen Liliuokalani's residences.
Pehea kei ala nui, o pualani. That should be ma'alahi, pretty simple.
The heavenly flower,
Maikai. Eia mai o wainani.
beautiful water.
Maikai loa. Ua lava paha ke la no ka manawa. I think that's enough for now. But like we said earlier, Olelo Hawaii is all around us. And the more you learn it, the more you'll start to notice it. And hopefully you'll take those opportunities to ho'oma'a and maybe even go and find out more meanings of other words on your own.
Yeah, I've seen these things all my life, but I'm going to be looking at the places and names a little more differently now. I really want to know what they mean, and they're not that hard to figure out.
Polole, e ho'i paha kako I ka hale. We got some friends coming over.
Ikino.
More than 120 years ago, Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop founded Kamehameha schools through the lands of her ancestors. Today, our commitment continues to care for these lands that support education, cultural perpetuation, renewable energy, reliable water, forestry, and sustainable food sources. Our vision is to plant the seeds for thriving lands and communities now and for the future.
Aloha hou mai e nā hoa Olelo Hawaii. Ua ho'i hou mai nei mākou I ka hale nei, a ua ho'ea mai ko kako hoa kipa mua o Kama Hopkins. Aloha mai e Kama.
Aloha, aloha kākou.
Pehea oi.
Maikai no ke ia. Pehea ʻoukou.
Maikai. Mahalo nui ko hele ana mai ho'okani pila a ka ma'ilio me mākou.
Mahalo nui ke kono ana mai. Pehea ka lā mua.
Oh, it's been good fun. It was a great review on a lot of things that I already learned, and some of the things we actually discovered for the first time, so it's really good.
Pololei. Aua ike no oi ia mea he a o Olelo ea.
Ai.
He aha ka mea I holo ai ka mana'o ia oi e a o I ka Olelo Hawaii a leila ho'oi kai ka ai ka pai kumu.
Oh, nina maikai ke la. O ka pololei, ua lilo wau I makua, o ka po'e noho ana ma ko mākou wahi, o ia ho'i o laie ke la au ko lauloa. Imina lako I kumu. No ka ho'okumu ia ana ke kahi kula punana leo. No leila ua koho ia mākou o wau me elua mo mea Hawaii. E lilo I maukumu me ke la kahu malila. Ua ho'okumu ia ke la kula, ua hemo, ua holo maikai, ua ike wau mea nui ke ia. Kupono ke au ano ka po'e kamari'i, ka Olelo Hawaii. Hiki no ke holomua mana ano mea like ole a pau. No leila mai ko uini e holomua I ki ano hana.
Ai, mahalo nui.
Ai, mahalo.
No leila o wai kakako mele mua loa.
O manai he ni no wau. O iai, o holoholo ka oko ke ia la.
Pololei.
Hiki no ke himeni ke la mea, holoholo ka.
Ai, iki. Maikai.
O ia. Hawaii ka holo kaka, oni ana ka hui la lawe a kano, ua koe a kokono, na hua helu e kauana. na nea mai hoi ka Hai na kowehi e kule Ke huli hoi nei ka haua Honi aku oe I ka aila ea Ke oni nei ka huila
Nahe maoli no.
Mahalo, mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui a oe kama.
Ai, mahalo nui.
E nā hoa, e olu, e ho'i hou mai no ke kahi pūkana o ka leo o iwi. Aloha.
Ka hauai ka holo holo kaka, Oni ana ka huila lawe a kalino, Kua koe a tau pono, Na hua helu e